Hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is your host, Fem Physique Fan, here in the Art of Female Muscle podcast. Greetings to everybody for yet another great episode. My guest today is relatively new IFBB pro in women's bodybuilding, who is going to be making her pro debut at the Steve Carr Classic Show later this year in November. Ladies and gentlemen, Elizabeth Moline.
Hey, thanks for having me.
You're welcome. Get you here. Well, great to have you on the show. Wonderful to see you here. Start off with some history for you. It's that some of the research that I did for you is that you said your dad took you to the gym all the time as a kid, and then
Yeah,
you also played hockey a lot. I know you're from Minnesota, and I know that hockey is pretty much religion up there. So, how many years did you play?
12 years.
12 altogether. Okay.
Yeah,
Now
I
was
started
it
when I think I was 8, maybe a little younger when I started playing. And I played until I graduated. I didn't play in college. I didn't take it past that. But yeah, I dedicated year round. It was all hockey.
Hmm. Now, was this on a women's hockey team, or were you on a guys' team, or is there a league for women's hockey? Because I'm not that familiar with it.
Yeah, so I went out for it was the first girls 12 and under team that my hometown had. So I was able to play on the girls team, and I actually played with the same group of girls from when I started in 12 and under until the day I graduated. So um, yeah, we played together through 12 and under, junior varsity, went to state a couple times. Um, yeah, played with some really talented women.
Okay, great. Now is hockey as popular in Minnesota for girls as it is for guys?
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Hockey's very popular in Minnesota. But I would say, like, what I have seen from working in physical therapy in the last 5 years is girls wrestling is actually
Oh,
really picking
really?
up here.
Okay.
Yeah, it's really cool. Like, I've treated some athletes where I'm like, you are so dedicated. It's really cool to see that
Now,
kind of growing.
now is that Greco-Roman wrestling or pro wrestling?
No, that's just like high school.
Okay.
Yeah, high school athletics.
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah.
You said in some of the research that I did on you from some of the other interviews you've had, you then switched to running after you
Yes.
cleared in Kai, and then you ran a few half marathons. Then you said you did some CrossFit. That
Yeah.
you hated the gymnastics part, but you loved the
Yes, it
lifting.
is.
So what was it that caused you to go to CrossFit? Was it just a friend who recommended it, or it was something that you saw, or what happened there?
Yeah, I had a friend that was doing it, and at the time I was running, and I was just running because I was like, I don't really have any goals. I don't have anything that I was kind of lost. Like, I played hockey for 12 years, and I still wanted to be active, and I didn't really have any goals that I was working towards. So I was like, I'll just start running, whatever. And I was working with this woman who started CrossFit, and she was like, I think you'd really like it. So I dropped into a few classes, became obsessed, was terrible at it, but loved it. Just kept doing it. But I was decent at the Olympic lifts. I loved doing the Olympic lifts. So then I started competing in Olympic weightlifting. And I did that for about 5 years and came very close to qualifying for nationals, but missed it by just a few kilos. And I missed it by a few kilos, like 3 or 4 times at local weightlifting meets.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and I actually injured my knee because at the time I wasn't doing any accessory work. I was just doing the compound lifts. I was just doing snatch, clean and jerk, heavy squats every single day. And my poor knee was like, we're done. That's it. So I then had a friend that was like, well, since you can't do weightlifting, you can't squat heavy or do these heavy lifts, like, why don't you just try a bodybuilding workout with me? And I was like, all right, yeah, sure. So then we started doing this, John Meadows Mountain Dog. We just like had one of his programs that we were going off of. And I absolutely loved it. And then that friend that I was training with, all it took was like, you might be like good at competing at this. Like you have potential. All it took was that. And I was like, okay, yeah. I just ran with it.
Great.
Yeah.
You had said in some of your earlier interviews you had gotten a training injury in your patellar tendon, and
That was
and
the
and
injury.
and then you were in physical therapy yourself, but then you got interested in physical therapy and then became a PT assistant. Are you still doing that?
Yep, yeah, I still do that part time, and then I train clients part time. So I have clients, and 4 days a week I work as a physical therapist assistant.
Oh, okay. Now are these lifestyle clients, competition prep clients, or both?
Both. I have both clients, lifestyle, and I have a few clients that haven't competed, but their goal is to compete. So I'm really excited to get them there.
Are any of your competition clients looking to do women's bodybuilding or
Women's physique. I
a
have one
women's
women's
physique?
physique
Okay.
competitor that I'm super excited about because she's super dedicated, um, has been awesome at following her meal plan, and she trains really hard. I know she's going to do so good.
Great.
Yeah,
About how long do you think she's got before she's competition ready? Or is she competition ready, do you think?
6 to 8 months.
Okay.
We've been working together just a couple months now, and I definitely want to take some time to coach her, get to know how she responds to diet, exercise, collect data, and then also allow her time to grow, and then we'll see.
What was it exactly about physical therapy that interested you to the point that you would want to make it something of a profession?
I love kinesiology. I love helping people with movement. I want to help people move better and efficiently so that they can live full lives. I think that's kind of what directed me towards physical therapy.
Hmm. What exactly is kinesiology? I've heard that term, but I'm not familiar with it.
Yeah, muscles, muscles, movement, the human body movement, muscle origins and insertions. Um, yeah, I guess I should know the full definition of kinesiology, and I really don't. But there you go.
Hey, but as long as you're doing it, as long as you're doing it right and you like doing it. So, what now? What are some things that surprised you, or did anything surprise you when you moved from like Olympic weightlifting to bodybuilding, as far as the lifestyle and the training and such like that? What was some stuff that you weren't expecting?
What didn't surprise me is a better question. I I still had the mentality of lifting like a weightlifter. I was married to the number, and focusing on moving as much weight as possible without thinking about the integrity of the lift. It's like I was just moving weight from point A to point B, and that's not bodybuilding. Bodybuilding is getting having control of the movement, time under tension, hypertrophy. Like that wasn't clicking for me right away at all. I had a really hard time with my meal plan because I did not bodybuild for that long before I decided I was going to do a show. So like that was I basically did everything wrong and learned the hard way, which is why I love coaching now because I'm like, okay, I've done these things. I can tell you they don't work. This is what works. This is what we're doing. Um, yeah, I had jumped into a prep like very, very shortly after doing, and maybe it was like 8 weeks of a bodybuilding type
Oh
program.
wow!
And
Okay,
in that 8 weeks, like
that's a short
it's
one. Yeah.
yeah, like did I pin down a meal plan? Absolutely not. And then it's like I went right into this calorie deficit, not knowing what to expect, not having any experience, and it was hard for me. So it took me a full year to get ready to step on stage.
Wow.
Mhm.
So, All right. Now, what are some differences in terms of, because you hear about Olympic lifting, bodybuilding, strong woman,
Mhm.
powerlifting, that sort of thing. What are some of the main differences between those, bodybuilding as opposed to the other two?
Oh, it's so different. Gosh, I mean, it's the way that you're working out. Um, it's the nutrition, how many calories you're consuming, um, because it's like, there's eating for aesthetics and there's eating for performance. When I'm ready for a show and I'm shredded, people are like, "Oh, you look so strong. Oh, you could beat me up." First of all, I could never beat anybody up. I've never thrown a punch in my life. That's not. But you get that comment all the time, and it's funny because it's like I might look really strong. I have never been weaker. Like when you're extremely
Right.
depleted, your
Exactly.
performance
Mhm.
is out the window. Um, not out the window, but it's not what it is when you're well fed and in your off season versus if you're doing Olympic weightlifting or powerlifting or strongman, like you need to eat to fuel your body for performance. But then there's also the different weight divisions. So for me, I cut down a weight division when I was weightlifting, because I was more competitive. The numbers that I needed to hit to qualify for nationals are lower at that lower class, in that lower class. So then it's like looking at, your weight class, your weight cap, the qualification numbers, and figuring that out. As far as performance in the different categories, bodybuilding, you're focusing on hypertrophy. So you can look at athletes and be like, yes, that is a power lifter, that is a bodybuilder. Like you can see the difference in the physiques, and it's a lot of like fast, explosive movements with Olympic weightlifting and powerlifting, and you're getting more of that time under tension, and really focusing in on hypertrophy when you're doing bodybuilding.
Hmm. I've seen this now a couple of times from people. I don't know if this is a relatively new thing, but I guess there's a debate in bodybuilding as to quantity of weight versus quality of your form. Like
Hmm.
there's some people who say that I've seen who said just move the weight, don't worry so much about the form. Other people are saying no, the form is pretty much everything because if you're lifting a ton of weight but your form is shed, then what did you accomplish? What did you actually gain as far as bodybuilding goes? What's your take on it? It's like some people lean one way, some people lean another way. Are you which way do you go?
I don't like to I don't like to be married to one specific thing.
Mhm.
It's like I think that you can take pearls from different methodologies. So it's like, do I think that you should stay extremely light and like just overthink your form and overthink the setup? No, like if you're trying to grow and you're just starting, strap yourself to some heavy dumbbells and do RDLs until you can't RDL anymore. Like, go row some heavy weight, like move some heavy weight. You're trying to grow, lift. However, on the flip side of that, it's like if you're just swinging weight around aimlessly, that's not great either. Like you're not going to reach your goals doing that either. So like the the thing that I like to think about when I'm training is I'm trying to move as much weight as I physically can as well as I can. So like if my form is absolutely breaking down and I'm not feeling the muscle group that I'm trying to target anymore, it's time to take weight off. Like that's not benefiting me, that's not helping me. But like if I'm doing a set of 12 and my RPE is 6, that's not great either. Like I want to absolutely push it as much as I can. So it's like I'm trying to push it as much as I can without my form completely breaking down. If I get 6 really solid reps and I squeak out a few extras and the form isn't mint, whatever. Like I'm not going to stress about that. So I don't think like this one is correct and this one is wrong. I think it's a mixture. It's a mix of both.
Mhm. What's a typical training split for you as a bodybuilder?
Yeah. So my coach has tailored my exercises specifically to the things that I need to bring up. So I train um, push. I do shoulders 1 week and chest the next, pull, and then quads. I take a rest day. I do arms, glutes, hams, repeat. So
Okay.
that's the split that I have right now.
All right. What's your favorite part and least favorite part to train?
Someone asked me this the other day. I don't have a least favorite part. I really don't. I used to hate the body parts that aren't my strong suit, right? So like arms, delt, hated it, but I've grown to love it. Like those things that you need to work on. I've learned that like pressing into those and applying myself and seeing like getting that gratification of seeing things change after the course of 6 months, after the course of a year, like that's so gratifying. I don't have there isn't a body part where I'm like, oof, not looking forward to that. But I will say my favorite is torn between quads and back.
Interesting.
Yeah,
Okay.
I love them both.
What's your favorite quad exercise? What's your favorite quad machine?
Hack squat. I
Okay.
love going to town on the hack squat.
Okay. I was also asked this question about gym etiquette. You see people who are bodybuilders in the gym and training, and people are interested in that and they see that, but then it's like they feel like they can just come up to you and talk to you like when
Mhm.
you're in the middle of a set or even come up and touch you. And I'm like, I look at that and I was like, guys, what do you think? Or anybody really, what are you guys thinking? I mean, she's trying to train in the gym. So what have you encountered? Do you encounter a lot of that? And if you do, what's some gym etiquette that you would say to other people in regards to bodybuilders at the gym?
I've never had anybody touch me. I don't think I've ever had that happen. Maybe in the grocery store, I've had somebody like grab my shoulder before and be like, whoa. Um, but never at the gym have I had somebody come up
Okay.
and touch me while I'm training. If somebody comes up and wants to talk during my training, if I'm focused and I'm in the middle of it, like I will absolutely talk before or after my training, but when I'm in my training, like it's dialed in and it's focused, and I don't like being rude because like people are just trying to learn, and that's cool. Like I'm happy to answer questions, and happy to help as much as I can, because there were people that helped me along the way too that had been in it longer. Um, so I usually tell people, like, I absolutely want to hear what you have to say, but I'm in the middle of my training. I can definitely talk afterwards, or you can message me on Instagram.
So when you say training, are you talking like in between sets that they can do so, or do you mean in terms of your whole gym session? Like
In
wait
between
until when?
sets.
Okay.
Yeah, like
Right.
wait, please wait until I'm done. Like I'll be done in 30 minutes and I will absolutely talk to you then, but I am not going to sacrifice
Right.
the intent. Like every time I train, there's intention behind every single set. There's intention behind how long I'm resting. There's, like there's a purpose for all of it. So it does get I try to not let it get under my skin, but it does. It throws me off when somebody wants to come up and chit chat during my
Right.
training session.
Exactly.
And so I've gotten to the point where it's like I appreciate you. I want to hear what you have to say. I am in the middle of my training session, so like if you're here when I'm done, or like shoot me a message, let's catch up sometime. You know, just try to be polite, but also stay on task.
Right. Because it's sometimes it's amazing. I've heard other competitors that it got so bad that people were trying to interrupt her that she had to switch gyms
There,
in order to be able to avoid that happening because it was happening so frequently. And I look at this and I'm like, look, if the hoodie is up, if the headphones are on, if she's going full bore and getting hardcore with the iron, leave her the hell alone
Yeah,
until she's
yeah.
done.
And you do have that thought process, like that does cross your mind, but then I try to replace it with like these people are being supportive, right? Like,
Mhm.
or they're new in their body fit or their bodybuilding, journey, and they're just looking for some advice.
Mhm.
And I'm cool with that, but I am not afraid to let you know, like I'm training right now. So,
Right. I've got some of your competition history here.
mhm,
It said you started in figure and you did also WPD back in 2020. You stayed in figure for 2021.
mhm.
I guess you got nationally qualified in 2023 at the Badger State.
Yeah,
Won because you placed third then in both WPB and WPD. And then you stayed there for the next year, and then you got your pro card in women's bodybuilding in North Americans
yeah,
at the
yeah.
last year. It's like, what was I also understand it's like I guess you had a really bad case of post show blues after the first show.
When did I say that?
Or
Did I
it's
say that on a
well,
podcast?
it's like you had said that it's like I guess your reverse diet didn't go as well or something like that. Because
Yeah,
you said things went all over the place after the show. And
yeah.
then it's
So
like you said, then you learned, I guess you learned that way that reverse prep or reverse diet is just as important as competition diet. So it's just what all was your experience with that?
yeah, that was after 2021. That was after my first time at nationals in figure. Um, and that was my first time with a reverse, really. So I did my first show in 2020, took 3 months off, and then started prep for nationals. So like I didn't really have an off season. And looking back, I'm like, hello, what were you doing? So I had dieted down to 135 pounds for nationals, for
Oh
junior
my God.
nationals. I was
Okay.
135 pounds. I was a skeleton. It was not a good look. Um, and I just was uneducated. I didn't know, and like my hormones were all over the place. I didn't follow my diet. It made things 100 times worse. It was a disaster. I learned a lot of lessons that prep, or that show, that reverse. And then I got with the coach that I turned pro with, and he spent time with me in an off season before we started prep. And that's when I learned. Like that's when I started to learn how to carry myself as a professional athlete, I would say.
Hmm.
Um, because like you have to carry yourself, right? You have to carry yourself as a professional athlete before you earn that pro card. You
Hmm.
don't, just earn your pro card. Just, you know, some very talented, gifted people can do that. But um, when I started working with that coach, that's when I learned what it looks like to carry yourself as a professional athlete. Um, we prepped for that show in October where I qualified for nationals. And it was, I don't remember how many weeks it was before nationals. I think we had 6 weeks in between the qualification and nationals.
Oh wow. Okay.
And I don't remember when in that time we decided to do women's bodybuilding, but it was like kind of a last minute thing. Um, didn't have a ton of time to practice the poses. We practiced the poses like a little bit. And that honestly, that 2023 show at Nationals, that's the most fun I've ever had on stage.
Hmm.
It was so fun. It was my first time stepping on stage in women's bodybuilding, and it was just like, yeah, this is my class. I love this. I loved it. I had so much fun, and it's just awesome that there was a really big group of women. I think there were like 15 women in my class. It was a really big show, and I had zero expectations other than like I'm gonna have fun. I'm gonna have a good time, and I ended up getting third. Um, so I took third in both women's physique and women's bodybuilding. I took a little bit of time off after that show, but really stayed in it. Like I was never out. of my prep. There was no like going into an off season. We did some refeeds. We added a little bit more food. We cut cardio back a little bit, and then went right back into prep for North Americans. And that's when I got my pro card in women's bodybuilding.
Um, what exactly is involved in reverse dieting? I've heard of this. Is it like you're just like you've been dieting down so much for so many weeks or so many months, and then what? You're just trying to slowly reverse that instead of like just going back to a normal diet? What exactly is involved in reverse dieting?
Yeah, I'm gonna be honest. You can just call it dieting smart. You can just call it being smart after your show. Um, it's like if you are consuming a ton of food after your show, if you go right back to where you were in your peak off season, your body's there's going to be a lack of homeostasis. Like you need your body to
Hmm.
gradually adapt to that volume of food again. Otherwise, you're going to be having some gnarly side effects like sayonara to your ankles, bunch of water weight, puffiness, and like that's not great for your organs. That's not great for your insides. So it's just dieting smart, adding food back in. You know, I think
Okay.
it's okay to live a little life after your show. I enjoy having dinner with my friends, my family. Um, things that you aren't able to do in prep, social aspects that you aren't able to. Not that you can't participate, like you can be there, but to be able to have a meal with my family, like sit down and have a meal with my family, right? Like that's the stuff that you're able to do in your off season. But if you do too much of that too soon, it's just going to cause havoc for your digestion, for your hormones, for
Right.
your
You've
whole
taken
system.
you've taken so long to get down to that level. You have to go slowly to go
Hmm.
back up. Otherwise, it's going to be a mess. You had said after North Americans, you're coached by Tim Thompson.
Yeah.
So it's still coached by him. So
I'm actually coached by Brandon Ray now. I've been
okay,
working with Brandon Ray. Oh, when did we start working together? Maybe like March. We've been together since March.
okay.
I've been working with him since March.
What stands out to him? What stands out to you about him as opposed to any other coaches that would be out there? What
The
makes you want to
reason,
work with him?
yeah, the reason I chose to work with Brandon is because of his track record with athletes. He said that he would do a free posing session with me. I think I posted a back double bicep, and he was like, "This can be better." And he was like, "If I'm game for a 30-minute posing session." Um, so I took him up on that, and I was blown away just by the critiques that he had, how much he helped me in 30 minutes, and his knowledge behind the sport. I was like, yeah, okay. And then looking at his athletes and what he's been able to accomplish with his athletes, I was like, yeah, I like my goal is to be in women's bodybuilding. I want to grow as much as possible, and just seeing the results that he's gotten his athletes, I was game for working with him. He's been awesome.
Now, does he coach all aspects of your bodybuilding, your training, your diet, and your posing, or do you have any separate people involved in either of those? So he takes care of the whole thing.
Yeah, he's definitely an artist, like very creative artist when it comes to posing. Like, there's no one better. He's been awesome to work with posing. And as far as training, like he has me take pictures of equipment in my gym, and he tailors my plan to what I have available to me, and tailors it to what I need to bring up specifically. Like he will call me and he'll be like, "This is movement one. This is what you're doing for your second exercise. Do this for your third exercise, and then call me." Right? And like,
Interesting.
yeah, it has worked really well. And of course, he does my nutrition too, and protocol, all the things.
That's interesting. I usually, when I hear people doing daily check-ins and such like that, it's for like posing and such like that. I've never heard of a coach ask you to take pictures of your equipment before,
Yeah,
just
and
to see what
it
what
makes
it
a
exactly
difference.
that you're to see what you're actually literally working with to see if they can tailor it. So that's interesting. I'd never ever
Mhm.
heard of that before. What's your favorite gym to train at?
Oh, in Minneapolis, Los
Yeah.
Campeones. Little plug for Los. They started with one location, the flagship location in Franklin, uh, or that's what it's called, the Franklin location. They have opened. I don't even know how many they've opened now. I think there's like 5 or 6 locations. It's the best equipment. They have all the Panada, Arsenal, Hammer Strength, huge space, posing rooms. It's like none other. It's awesome.
Do you have a favorite supplement brand that you work with that you like to take?
Honestly, no.
Okay.
No, I don't. I take a mix, honestly. So I
Okay.
really don't have a favorite. I guess I use a lot of chemics products, but other than that, no, I
Okay.
really don't.
Well, I guess one thing I was going to finish up with was this. Let me see if I can add it here. This is going to be your pro debut.
Yeah.
The Steve Carr Las Vegas Classic that's going to be held November 8th in Las Vegas. Austin Carr is putting that on. He decided clear out of the blue. I mean, kind of surprised everybody. He said, "Hey, is anybody interested in doing pro women's bodybuilding?" And if he could get 5 people to commit, that he would add that to that show. And sure enough, he did.
hmm
So I know a lot of other people are looking forward to this. What made you want to make this your debut?
So it's kind of funny. I went to New York Pro with Anastasia. Her and I went to New York Pro to train with Brandon, our coach. And when we were at Signature Fitness, we ran into, I cannot think of his name right now. RP Strength, the guy that works with Mike.
Hmm.
Oh, Justin. Is his name Justin? He's with RP Strength, and he was talking about how they were possibly going to add women's bodybuilding to this show. Um, and it being just an opportunity for women to be able to stay in prep, right? So there's shows that are closer together. If you look at the women bodybuilding shows, like they're all spread out, right? That's really hard to manage when you're on gear in a harsh calorie deficit. Like it's so awesome that they have this option now. Um, Not that it really works for me because the next show for me to do after Steve Carr is I think 6 months down the road, but just to have another option available. I kind of put it in my back pocket and I was like, okay, that's an option. That's cool because I was thinking about what shows I was going to be doing in 2025, 2026. Just wasn't really sure yet. Um, had some ideas, but no real game plan. And then a month later, Brandon called me and he was like, "Hey, they just released this. I think you should do it." And it's Steve Carr Classic. And I was like, "All right, there we go. That's the sign. That's the show I'm doing. That's the pro debut."
Okay. Now, from North Americans, what's been the judges' feedback in regards to that? And then how have you factored that feedback into your prep for this show?
Yeah, my midsection. Controlling my midsection. So really dialing in my posing, transitions with my posing, controlling my midsection. Um, and then I don't think they said ad size, but like I clearly need to be bigger to compete in women's bodybuilding. Um, and also I think they said they at Nationals 2023 they wanted me more conditioned, and Sandy told me backstage that I was more conditioned for North Americans, and they saw that. But I'm always like I want to bring my conditioning the
Hmm.
best of my ability, um, and I think I was pretty conditioned for North Americans. I think I liked that look the most out of any look that I have had. Um, but I'm always like, I want to be leaner. I want to be bigger. But emphasis on being bigger to be competitive in this division. So the last year, I knew I was going to be taking time off to grow. And I think that with what time I took off, we've made some really good progress.
Excellent. Yeah, you're absolutely right. I mean, conditioning, conditioning, conditioning with women's bodybuilding. I mean, you can have awesome mass, you can have great proportions and such, but if no one can see it because of the definition, I mean, doesn't really help. So you're absolutely right. So I can't wait to see what package you bring to that show because I saw your pictures at North Americans and I was really impressed because I thought
Thank you.
you thought you had a really nice mix of mass and conditioning for that, and those are like the holy twins of bodybuilding. So if you're on point with both of those, so I was going to also ask you about, let's see, let me see where I'm at here because I've got my questions here. The Rising Phoenix this weekend. That was kind of a blow to me because I've been a fan of this now for just a shade over 4 decades. And when I saw because when I saw the first Rising Phoenix come out, I was like, okay, this looks interesting. And then it's like I mean, you started getting really good cash prizes, like 50K cash, also getting a truck or also getting a car. And even in the turnout, you had up like 15 up to like
Yeah.
20, 24 at one time. So it's like I was over on George's podcast when the competitor list came out, and he and his other guests, and we found out there's only going to be 5 women this weekend, and that just kind of blew all of our minds. So it's like, geez, we've had this show for so long, and now that they got rid of the championship aspect and the money aspect, it's now become just another pro show. So it's like, what are your thoughts as to seeing something like that? Do you think that's important of things to come? Because I know other people have been talking about all over again because of that. They're saying, are we looking at the demise of competitive women's bodybuilding? Or do you think that's just fear mongering and not necessary because things are okay? What are your thoughts? Do you think that that's a sign of things to come? Or do you think it's just how things are evolving?
Oh, yeah, I don't think women's bodybuilding is going anywhere. I don't. I think that there are a lot of women that are coming up in this division. Um, Hunter Henderson. I
Yeah,
can't remember her name. There's like a group of women in Vegas that are absolutely killing it, right? Like there are women that are coming up
right.
in this division that look phenomenal, that look feminine, that have the muscle density. I don't think the division is going anywhere, but it's like where's the respect for this class? Like why is the prize money being slashed? Like what's happening here? Um, so yeah, don't I don't know what direction it's going. It's really sad to see that happen to the Rising Phoenix, but I don't think that's like an indicator of what's happening with the division itself.
Hmm. Here, what else? Sorry, I'm just looking at my questions here.
That's all right.
Um, I guess to wrap it up, what would be, since you've got some experience under your belt, now you're newly minted IFBB Pro, going to be making your pro debut, but you've had a lot of experience just in lifting, period. And you've also had experience now both on the local and national level as far as competition. For any newer competitors that are starting out, specifically in women's bodybuilding, like if there are any women that see you or get inspired by you to go into the division, what would be some advice that you would give those new competitors? And by which I mean both in terms of encouragements, things to look forward to in their bodybuilding journey, but also some warnings, things to avoid, things that you may have gone through in your body, because by the sound of it, things didn't always go as planned or things didn't go very well. What are some things that would be encouragements, things to look forward to, but also warnings that you would give to newer competitors, things that you went through that they should try to avoid as much as possible?
Yeah. So I guess biggest warning and biggest advice would be to take your time picking your coach. interview your coach. Like you're hiring this person and you're putting your health in their hands, and it's okay to shop around, ask questions, find the best fit. Um, I think that's the biggest thing. Making sure that you're linked up with a good coach that knows what they're doing and that you can communicate well with. I think that's huge. And I guess a piece of advice that I would have, and this is like do as I say, not as I do. I learned the hard way, but take your time with it. There's no rush. Like especially if you're younger, right? Like
Right.
even if you're older, like if you're not ready for the stage, find a coach that's going to be brutally honest with you. Find a coach and work with them for a period of time before you start a prep. Take the time to get the meal plan down, to build muscle, to live the lifestyle, and then start prep. um, Starting by just jumping into a prep, you're not going to be set up for success. And then just one more piece of advice is comparison is the killer of joy. Um, everybody is on their own path in this. Um, and so looking at somebody that's been doing it for 5 years, 8 years, 10 years, and comparing yourself and where you're at to them and where they're at doesn't do you any good, is not helpful. So embrace your journey. Um, Take your time and enjoy the process. I think that's my best advice.
Hmm. Well, I want to be respectful of your time. Thank you so much for your
Yeah.
willingness to come on here. I think you've given some invaluable information here for any competitors out there who might be listening to this. I wish you the very best of luck in your prep for your pro debut coming up. Oh, I remember the one question I was going to ask you. That happens to be the same weekend as Romanian Muscle Fest.
Mhm.
And so it's interesting. What impact do you think this new show is going to have on that? Because I know Brittany Parrish, for example, I know she's making her pro debut there too. And then I mentioned, just decided to make DM her because she was originally going to go to Romania, but I told her about the show and then she changed her mind. So, do you think that that's going to have? Do you think more American competitors would stay here to do something like that, or what impact do you think it's going to have?
I don't know. I don't know. I mean, like, look at this weekend in Rising Phoenix and the show in Germany.
Right.
I don't. That's tough to
Right.
say. That's hard to say.
Okay. Well, yeah, that hasn't stopped people like your friend Anastasia from going over there. So
Nope.
she's getting ready to go.
She's gonna crush it.
So
It's gonna be a good weekend. I got Anastasia in Germany, and my friend Amanda's doing Rising Phoenix. It's her pro debut. It's gonna be a good weekend for bodybuilding, for women's bodybuilding. I'm
yeah.
excited. I'm excited to watch. But yeah, I don't know that it's gonna negatively affect
Okay.
either show.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for being a guest. It's been
Yeah.
wonderful having you here. So I wish you all the very best. I wish you the best of luck at your pro debut and can't wait to see what you bring as a finished product in terms of
Thank
your
you very
physique.
much.
So,
Yeah.
ladies and gentlemen, this has been another edition of the Art of Human Muscle podcast. And I hope that everyone out there is having a great time and I hope that everybody tunes in and buys the live streams for these shows so that we can keep this going. So,
Heck yeah.